Okay, in this video we're going to create the windows and we're going to create the editors. It's a very fast process if you understand what you want ahead of time. I usually like to map things out first so I know the fields. I always add fields here and there while I'm working, but to give you a general idea, you should have something written down on anything really, Microsoft Word, Excel. I like to use a mind mapper to kind of map out my ideas. But the software objects, we're going to create, click the software objects tab. Well, first we can put in a software title, cool graphics program. And the version is actually pretty important, especially when you get into updates. I like to start with 1.0.0.01. You cannot put any letters in here. If you do, you will find out it won't work. At least the installation won't work. But this will help tell your customers what version they're running. That way, if you did make some changes and they ask if they got the latest version, you can tell them no, we're on version 1.0.0.02 now, so you need to download the newest version. So it's pretty important to kind of keep using that number. So let's click on the link button for the software objects. We have no software objects created for this software program, otherwise we could select some. Let's click new. Okay. Now, as I said, this may be a little different depending on your version, but the layout should be the same. You might be missing a few stuff in the modules. That's because I'm running the expert version. But the object name, we want to put graphics object. Now the object name will never be seen, but this is used behind the scenes to know that what window are we talking about. So we need to make sure this is graphics object. There's certain names you can't use, so if you qualify it with object, you're probably going to be okay. But you can't name the same object. You can't name two objects the same thing. So the caption, we'll put graphics. The image, we'll double click the image, and we have several images already available for you in different categories. We'll double click that. And now let's just OK this, OK that, and we'll hit save. What I want to do is I want to show you how it looks already, how the software looks already. So I'll click run, and this will actually generate the software that we've been working on. Okay, here's our graphics object. See, here's the picture that we chose. If we click on that, we don't have any editor, so we don't have anything showing up here in the columns of the grid, and we don't have any editors here. But this is what's generated just from basically this software object creates this grid view, this list view, and it creates the detail windows. So now what we need to do is we need to put some fields on there, and now those are what the editors are. So let's select this again and double click on it, and we'll open up the window again. So the editors is how we interact with the program. So let's click new, and here's the editor window right here. Now the property name is the same thing as the object name. It just tells the software this is a particular editor, I want to keep track of it. So try to using particular words may make it error because it's reserved words you shouldn't be using. So I try to qualify my names with editor or something like that. You can create your own naming convention if you want, but we'll put let's see, we're going to add graphic file type editor, and we'll put file type for the caption. Now this is going to be where we save the file type of the image itself, if it's JPEG or if it's a PNG file or if it's a GIF file. So we want to double click this, and here's where all of our editors are. Again, different versions, you won't have as many editors because this is basically the big daddy of them all. So this is just going to be a text field. Actually, let's double click that. We're going to make this a combo box. Now when we select, I want to show you something here. If we select that, notice up here the tabs. You got description and rules. Now if you select the combo box, you have a new tab called property items. A combo box is being able to select from a list, a drop-down list. So we need to add the files, what we want them to be able to select. So we click new, and we put GIF. We click save and new. See, it saved it right there, and it also brought up the window. That's how this really speeds up the process. JPEG, save and new, PNG, save and new, BMP, save and new, TFF, save and new, PNG, and we'll save and close. So now we have a list of these items that the user can actually select from. And we're done with this. We're going to hit save and close. Now we want to be able to create the editor that actually saves the image itself, the picture, the graphic image. So we can call it graphic image editor. And we can call it image for the caption. We'll double click and we'll go down to picture editor, which everyone should have. And save and new. So now we have the graphic file type editor and the graphic image editor. The property name, here's where we're going to let them categorize their images. So we'll put category editor, and we'll put category for the caption. Double click the property editor, and we can make this, if you have a list of common categories, you can make it a combo box like you did before. For this tutorial, we'll just make it a text editor, so they won't be able to select anything, but they can just type it in. Okay, save and close that. Now we have 3 editors that's going to show up on the windows. Let's save and close this software object, and let's run the software again. Okay, well, we have category right here, as you can see. Now we can right click, column chooser, and we have our other editors right here, so we can drag them up there if we want. We can drag the image up there so they can actually see the image. Now let's click new, and here's the 3 editors we just added. Now we're going to make this look a lot prettier. We're going to change it around a little bit, but we're going to do that in a different video. We're still got a few more things we want to add before we start actually making it look nice and pretty. So close and close. We're going to add another object. Now say they want, say they have like a Photoshop file or a Corel Draw file that they can edit. We want them to be able to save it with the image. That way they have quick access to it that they can open up. So let's click on the link, and we have our graphics object here that's already added. We'll click new again. And this software object, we're just going to we'll call it support file object. And the caption support files. So if they want to add, they want to be able to save files for that image. It could be different formats, or it could be the actual file that they use to create the picture or the graphic. They can do that. This time we're not going, see the navigation here on the window right here where it says home? That's what this navigation does. If I was to change this to a different name, like say supporting files, when I ran the software, you would have not only home for the the first object we created, but you'd also have a tab for supporting files as well. So you could lay out your software a lot more. If you have a lot of fields, a lot of objects, it's best to categorize them even a little bit more by adding more navigation. But we won't need it for this simple product. So let's find an image for, we'll use the box full of stuff. We don't want no navigation. We don't want this to show up. See, if we actually take that off, there won't be no picture up here. So that won't show up here, this image. Because we don't really want them to go through that way. We want them to go through the graphic object itself in order to get to this object. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. So now we'll create the editors. Let's create new. We're going to have a file type here because the person wants to know what type of file type is in there. So we're going to have a file type editor, file type, and we'll double click, and we're going to create, it's going to be a text field, an enterable text field. Let's click save and new because we got some more fields to add. The file editor itself, where we're going to store the file. Let's double click here, and let's scroll down here to the file editor. This actually stores the stuff in the database. Save and new, and we want a file name so we know what we're dealing with. We have the file type. Sure, it could be a PSD file or a clip art file, but it doesn't really help us unless we know the file name. So let's put file name. Usually editor's usually better. So let's double click, and we're going to use the text editor again, but we're going to click this in default property. Now this deals with the relationships, and I'll show you later why. Save and close. Okay, we have the supporting file object done, so we can click OK, and we'll click OK. Now we have two objects right here. One will not show up in the window because we took the navigation off. It won't show up here. So in the next video, we're going to talk about object relationships and how we're going to actually have the supporting file show up on the window of the graphics object, and why it's better to create two different objects like this for usability.